little closer, you guys, if you don't mind. We'll cram into this little switchback here. Yeah, well, a few of you come over here and we'll make room for the rest to move up. All right, so we're doing pretty good on time. We'll talk here for a few minutes, then we'll make one more stop before I set you free to watch the sunset. So it's time now to meet somebody else watching over our old growth forest, our fire management officer, Greg. Everybody say, howdy, Greg.
Howdy, Greg.
Howdy, Greg.
Howdy. So in the old days, we thought that protecting our forest required preventing all fires from burning. So the fire lookout here, it was built in 1932 for one reason and one reason only: the early detection of fires so they could be immediately suppressed. We average 20 fires every summer started by lightning. So a lot of fires here every summer. But from 1902 up until 1978, we successfully suppressed every fire that started in the park. But now we kind of think that was a mistake, because now we realize that fire is actually a natural part of the ecosystem. And a lot of species, a lot of trees and birds and insects, they actually evolved in the presence of fire, and they require it as part of their life cycle or to knock back competitor species. So now we try to let some fires burn for the benefit of the ecosystem. So Greg's job, he's got to decide, okay, which fires do we suppress immediately and which ones do we manage and allow to flourish. So what do you think? We've gone from suppressing 100% of all the fires to how many do you think we suppress today? What percentage?
75.
20.
20, 75? Zero?
32.
Well, believe it or not, the answer is 95%. We still suppress almost all the fires that start here. Now, why would we do that, given all we know now about the importance of fire?
People here.
What's that?
A lot of people here.
Oh yeah, we don't want to endanger all of us. That's part of it, but I think one of the big reasons is because we suppressed fires for 80 years, there's an unnatural buildup of dead wood in the park. Lots of downed logs, branches, and twigs, and if we're not careful, a small fire could easily become catastrophic and burn down the entire park. So we've got to have the right conditions to let fires grow. And these days, we often don't have the right conditions. This is one of the snowiest inhabited places in America. Have any of you been here in the winter? We get an average of 43 feet of snow. And that thick blanket of snow kind of protects the forest the following summer from catastrophic wildfires. But this park is not as snowy as it used to be. We've been measuring the snow since 1931, and when you average it out decade by decade, a trend becomes apparent. Pretty big decline. So we're in the middle of a long drought, and so it's just too dangerous to let fires burn, because they could easily burn down the entire park. Like last summer, well, 2 winters ago, we only had 16 feet of snow, an all-time record low. And as a result, last summer, we had the largest fire in the park's history. We tried to suppress it, but it blew up. It burned 21,000 acres. That's 1.5 times the size of the lake. And if not for the efforts of 2,000 firefighters from around the country who came here to contain this blaze, and they succeeded, but that fire could have easily been devastating. Now we've got a fire burning right now. Have you guys seen it or smelled some smoke in the park? we see any smoke down below us? Do you guys see those dead trees down there? Some of those trees are dead because they burned a few weeks ago, although some of them burned back in 2006. 10 years ago, we had our largest managed fire in the park's history. It was a huge success. And even though the trees are all dead, if you hike through that burned area today, oh my goodness, it's beautiful. There's flowers and grasses everywhere. There's deer and elk grazing on the flowers and grasses. There's woodpeckers making homes in all the dead trees. There's more biodiversity in that area that burned 10 years ago than in the forest that did not burn. So Greg's trying to let some of these fires burn, but he's got to be very careful because it's just too dry most summers, and we have too much accumulation of dead wood. Does that make sense? I didn't explain that very well.
That's nutcracker right down there.
Where? There's a nutcracker? Do you guys see it?